What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another great video. My name is Soshtavi, and today I'm recommending Sabrina Carpenter songs as books. I love Sabrina Carpenter. I've been listening to her music for a while now, years actually. So I'm super excited to do this video because there are some really great recommendations I have at hand right now. My bangs look terrible today, so we're just gonna ignore them. It's ironic that it had to happen today, of all days, when we're making a Sabrina Carpenter video. Let's not. Let's not, okay? We've got new songs, new books, old books. It's gonna be a fun one. I'm very excited. I have done a video like this months ago where I recommended books according to Taylor Swift songs. I'll link it over here if you want to check that out. Had a lot of fun with that as well. And I think I'm gonna do a part 2 of that as well because I have like a list of other recommendations for other songs of Taylor Swift because I'm a huge Swiftie. So watch out for that. That'll happen really soon too. But today we're talking about Sabrina Carpenter. Now Sabrina Carpenter has been having a year. She's been having a really great year in music. Her music's always been so much fun to listen to, and I've just been loving everything that she's been putting out recently, especially since Emails I Can't Send. I'm obsessed with that album. I'm obsessed with this album as well. So yeah, lock in because there's a lot of great recommendations coming in. Let's get into it. So the first song we're talking about is Already Over. I love that song. It was on Emails I Can't Send. Oh, what a beautiful song. And the book I want to recommend for that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. There's honestly a lot of Sabrina songs that are very fit for this book, but I'm going to talk about only 2 of them. Let me just tell you how my mind works to begin with. I very often, when I'm reading, the atmosphere of the book or a certain dialogue in the book starts reminding me of certain songs. And so that's why in my books you will always see little songs like scribbled along the margins somewhere in each book, because I just think in terms of song all the time, which is just really cool. And I think like in my head I envision like years later when I've passed on and someone else has my books and someone else has inherited my books, they're gonna see my life not just through the books that I've read but through the songs I've left behind. And I feel like I'm leaving behind a playlist of my life in the margins of these books. So I don't know, it just feels really cute to think of it that way. But yeah, there's a lot of songs scribbled in the margins of Happy Place which are of Sabrina's. The song talks about how when a couple has, broken up and they want to get closure but they can't get closure, when the relationship is already over and I'm supposed to leave you but I'm not able to leave you, that kind of a feeling. And Happy Place is about these 2 people who were in a very long relationship for 8 years and then they broke up, but they have a mutual friend group and they're going on vacation with that friend group. So for that vacation they decide to fake their relationship, and we're in the main character's head here, Harriet, and we see how Harriet is just not getting the closure she would have wanted and how she's still not over that relationship and over him. Some lyrics specifically that are like very at par are, we've been talking for hours about how we shouldn't talk for hours on end, say we won't do this again, make me fall where I stand, only like you can. Yeah, I say I'm done, but I'm still confused. How am I supposed to close the door when I still need the closure? And I changed my mind, but it's still on you. How am I supposed to leave you now that you're over? Honestly, the entire song, but yeah, these are some of the most potent lyrics that are exactly what Harriet's perspective in this book feels like. The second song I want to recommend is Skinny Dipping. Now, there's no particular lyrics that I'm going to point out. The lyrics of Skinny Dipping are definitely very, very personal to Sabrina Carpenter and her own experience, but the general vibe of the song talks about how, she's visualizing that maybe one day there will come a day when they're both over this relationship and it doesn't feel heart-wrenching to think about that person or meet that person. So the main lyric in the song is also, we'd be skinny dipping in water under the bridge. She's dreaming about that time that, one day maybe there'll be a time when all of this will be water under the bridge. There will be no resentment and anger and stuff like that towards the person in the relationship, but for now she's still not over that. She's not over those emotions yet. So maybe one day we'll get there, but we aren't there right now. And that's exactly what Harriet's perspective in this feels like. You think you'll get over a person and one day maybe you will, but you're not there right now and you possibly never will be. There you go, that's Happy Place for you. Now for the next book, again I have 2 song recommendations. The first one is a song that I never hear anyone talk about. It's a very underrated song of hers, and the first time I heard about it, it really hit me hard. I love that song, and it's called Exhale. And that song is about basically having so much, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you're just asking like, I just want to get one moment to exhale and just breathe. That's what the song talks about. It's very close to the perspective of Hallie in Daydream. Daydream is a romance. It's the 3rd book in the Icebreaker series. It's a new release by Hannah Grace. It's a really sweet romance, but beyond the romance, we're also diving into the heads of Hallie and Henry in this book, and Hallie is an eldest daughter. We're seeing how heavy it can get to bear the weight of the entire family and the people around you as an eldest daughter. And that's something I found myself relating to a lot while reading the book. And again, Exhale is something I related to as well, and I feel like it perfectly describes what Hallie is going through in this book. For example, certain lyrics in the song are, "Who put the world on my back and not in my hands, just give me a chance. Listen to my mama, listen to my dad, listen to my sister, everyone relax. Think I'm reaching my limit. Can I exhale for a minute? Can I get this out in the open? Can I sit down for a second? Can I breathe?" Some other lyrics like, "I put too much on myself, thinking I don't deserve what I've earned." Lots of great things. The entire song, once again, very relatable to Hallie's journey in Daydream. So that's one song for Daydream. The other song, we're going to do a complete 180 for it, Bedchem. Now, I'm not going to read out the lyrics to Bedchem because, yeah, not gonna do that. But Bedchem is basically just having, just a girl fantasizing about her sex life with this particular boy and about how great it will be and how great it is. She's kind of obsessed with the chemistry that they have in bed. And that's very much Hallie and Henry. And this book isn't very spice heavy. It does have spice, but it's not spice heavy like other Hannah Grace books. But yeah, that's definitely a part of their relationship, and that's all I'm gonna say. Exhale and Bedchem. That's the vibe of Daydream. Next, Looking at Me. Another absolutely amazing banger of a song. I never hear anyone talking about this either. For the longest time, this song was on my cardio playlist because it's just so fun. This song is basically talking about being the it girl. Like, she knows that everyone's looking at her. She is the it girl. She's the one everyone wants. I just want to quickly shout out some books that have the it girl energy in them. Looking at Me lyrics. Did I catch your attention? You look like you lost your breath. Don't just stand there staring, honey. Try to move your feet. If you think they're looking at you, they're looking at me. It's basically very it girl energy, like I said, and some books that go with that. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, Anastasia, however you say it. Very it girl energy, and she knows it. This is a hockey into figure skater romance. Again, spicy, but it's so much fun, honestly. And honestly, as much as people like to trash about this book, one of the healthiest relationships I've seen in a book. Healthiest, genuinely. So, highly recommend. We also have The Cruel Prince. Okay, now everyone knows I'm not a fan of this series, but I also know that my opinion is very subjective and most people love the book. It could be your vibe. Jude Duarte, who's the female main character in this book, definitely very it girl vibes. And that's one thing that I always said about the series, is that I feel like Jude was a great main character. I wish we got her in a different series and not in this book universe. Everyone's always looking at her and she knows it. If you don't know what Cruel Prince is about, it's a fantasy. It's a YA fantasy and it involves fairies. Jude is a human who's stuck in fairy and she's trying to fight her way to the top in the political system of this world. So yeah, political YA fantasy is what this is. And then another book for Looking at Me is The Deal by L. Kennedy, the OG hockey romance. Again, spicy, but Hannah is also kind of the it girl in a more subtle way than the other two books, but yeah, definitely it girl energy over here as well. I also just want to point out, Looking at Me lyric, "Don't you come at me green with an attitude," are boys in this book. Jealous idiots all around. And another song which is perfectly fit for The Deal, and both these books also honestly, is Espresso. Espresso, again, very it girl energy. Like, the girl just knows that it's that me Espresso keeping that boy up all night, and completely fits these books. And obviously it was a song of the summer, and these books are also very summer, especially these two. Even though they're set in college, summer books through and through. But also for Espresso, I want to quickly shout out 3 other books. Shatter Me by Tara Mafi. It's a YA dystopian, again, about this girl. In the first book, it's about this girl who's been caged up for days on end for, I think, over a year because she has a lethal power. Anyone she touches could die from her touch. And then she gets taken out of the facility for an experiment. And we take things from there. And that's the vaguest thing I can tell you about the summary of that book, because the series is wild, honestly, like a fever dream. Things go in all kinds of places. So that's the most basic explanation I can give to you about Shatter Me if you haven't read that book yet. 2 other books for Espresso. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros needs no introduction. And also Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. It's another Shadowhunters book. Lady Midnight is, like I said, set in the Shadowhunter verse. It's about people who are half angel and half human who fight demons. That's the most basic explanation I can give to you. It's set in Los Angeles, so again, very summer vibes. And our girl Emma, main character energy through and through. Also, I just want to mention Espresso. I'm working late because I'm a singer. She's a singer in this book. So there we go, some other espresso recommendations. Then we come to a song which is honestly one of my all-time faves by Sabrina Carpenter, and that is Why. This song, simply put, is about opposites attract. I'm not gonna point out lyrics because again they're very specific, but in the song she talks about how he likes, things like this, and he likes doing that, and he does this, and they're completely opposite to how she does things and she likes things. They're complete opposites, but they still work somehow. The chorus goes like, tell me how we're not alike, but we work so well and we don't even know why. Funny how the stars cross right, but we work so well and we don't even know why. That's the gist of the song Opposites Attract. 2 books I have for that recommendation. First of all, we have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. Two completely different personalities. We have Bailey, who's pretty much type A, and then we have Charlie, who's very much, well, not type A. But they get along so well and they're so good for each other and they balance out each other so well. But yeah, that's Betting on You. It's a YA romance. We follow Bailey and Charlie, who 3 years ago they met at the airport and had a not so meet cute. They brushed shoulders a little bit, and then 3 years later they meet again at their place of work and start developing a friendship and then falling in love and all the good stuff. So yeah, Betting on You, honestly, love this book, love the song, highly recommend. Now this is gonna seem a little off kilter, but another book I want to recommend for this song is One of Us is Lying. And I know what you're thinking about it, I know. One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus is a murder mystery, a YA murder mystery. And it's about 5 kids who go to detention and then one of them ends up being dead and people suspect the 4 of them had something to do with it. The remaining 4 alive start investigating on their own to figure out who killed that 5th person in detention. That's what the book is about. But throughout the book and just the trilogy in general, it's part of a trilogy. The trilogy in general has a very sweet romance between 2 of our main characters, and honestly I did not expect to find a romance like that in a murder mystery trilogy. If you like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and you like Pip and Ravi, wholesome relationship where they truly understand each other, that's a relationship in this book between Bronwyn and Nate. Very, very cute, and once again, complete opposites attract. Like, Nate is supposed to be the resident bad boy and she's supposed to be the goody two shoes, nerdy, A-grade student, but they work so well together. And yeah, I honestly recommend this for what the plot is, but also for the relationship. Why One of Us is Lying. There we go. The last song and book I want to talk about will again seem a little off kilter, but trust me, just listen to it. We're talking about How Many Things, again by Emails I Can't Send. And the book I want to recommend, which matches that, is Rebecca. Now, explanation. Rebecca is obviously a gothic classic from the 20th century, and How Many Things is, well, a song by Sabrina Carpenter. How do they get along? Let me explain. How Many Things talks about basically her not being able to forget about this boy and about how she thinks about him constantly, and everywhere she looks she sees him, and everything she does, everything she sees reminds her of him, and she's pretty sure that he probably does not think about her as much as she thinks about him. He's not on her mind the way he is on hers, and that's what the song is about. Honestly, that song was resonating in my head with this book in 2 ways. Rebecca is a story about our main narrator who is unnamed throughout the book. We never find out her name. She's unnamed, and our narrator is basically very, very young, and very quickly she falls in love and marries a man who is 20 plus years older than her. And throughout the book there's a lot of emphasis about how she's very naive and childlike, whereas he is an older man, obviously. And then once they get married, they go back to his rich estate, and things aren't going as well, and the relationship and their marriage isn't working out the way it was. And a main factor for that is because he had an ex-wife named Rebecca who died a year ago, and everyone over there is always talking about Rebecca and about how much they loved Rebecca, because Rebecca was one of those people who was full of life and everyone loved her and everyone vibed with her, and the entire house feels like Rebecca is still living in it, because everything over there has been arranged by Rebecca. Everything runs according to Rebecca still, and in a metaphorical sense she feels like she's haunted by Rebecca's ghost. There's 2 aspects of her living that unfulfilled relationship with her husband, because she feels like Rebecca is somehow still present in the relationship, and that's why he can't love her fully. A huge chunk of the song How Many Things talks about how everywhere she looks, everything she sees reminds her of him. And I feel like that applies to her relationship with Rebecca in this book. Everything that she sees in the house that she lives in, she's reminded of Rebecca. She keeps thinking of, oh, did Rebecca do this? Was this what Rebecca did when she was alive? Is this arranged by Rebecca? Did Rebecca ever touch this? Did Rebecca ever wear this? Anything she looks at, anyone she talks to, she keeps getting reminded of Rebecca. And then, of course, a huge chunk of the song talks about how she knows that she thinks about him more than he thinks of her, and that she's in love with him more than he ever will be. Like the chorus specifically of the song talks about, I wonder how many things you think about before you get to me. I wonder how many things you want to do, you think I'm in between. I feel myself falling further down your priorities, and I still make excuses for you constantly. I wonder how many things you think about before you get to me. So she's always thinking about him, and she wants to be loved by him, and she wants to have a successful marriage with him, but unfortunately that is not happening. Yeah, I feel like in all those senses, how many things really captures the vibe of Rebecca for me. Musically very different, but lyrically very similar. So there you go, those are all the recommendations I have for Sabrina Carpenter songs as books, a wide variety. I hope you got something out of that. I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe you discovered some new books or some new songs. I don't know. Let me know what you thought of this, if you got some recommendations out of it, and if you want me to cover other artists like this, I would be happy to, because like I said, I think in song constantly. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. Everything will be linked down below. The Taylor Swift songs as book recommendations will also be linked down below. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.